Hi, everyone. Today, I have the honor to meet with Keshmira Shethna, General Manager of Human Resources at Vodafone Intelligent Solutions, also called Voice, with whom I will be discussing diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace. Good morning, Keshmira. Such a pleasure to be with you this morning.
Good morning, Sabine. Same here. Good morning to you.
So I would like to get into your lengthy expertise, and in light of your extensive experience in banking, financial services, and insurance and telecommunication, how have you witnessed the progress in diversity, equity, and inclusion over the past 20 years?
Sure. So, Sabine, it's been a journey for me over the last 15 to 20 years, the way I've seen the whole diversity, inclusiveness agenda shape up in the corporate life. Honestly, I've seen it come alive, right from being a concept on the table to becoming a very integral part of the culture of every inclusive organization. I've kind of seen that journey, and I think it's a very sweet spot to be in the history of diversity, if you ask.
That's absolutely wonderful. And as you can see, there's a lot of change happening just right now. So can you share some specific strategies or initiatives that you have implemented at Voice to promote more diverse, inclusive, and equitable workplace?
Sure. So I've spent good 10 years with Voice, and I take pride in saying that we have a lot of such good initiatives. But I think one or two that strikes the top of the list for me personally is creating a safe place to work, right? So we invest a lot in creating a psychologically safe place to work through initiatives like 100% Human, and focusing a lot on awareness around the mental health of our employees, supporting them with resources around it. But yes, if you want to talk about a very specific one, I can perhaps quote the hiring example here, where we made our hiring very gender neutral, so to say, and we wanted to remove all the unconscious biases. So through learning and through experimenting a lot in the past few years, we now use a particular program called Eightfold. It's a platform, and this is a platform where we use technology to help us achieve our inclusive agenda, right? So what this platform does is it kind of masks all the diversity related data, and it helps us integrate both the internal incumbents and the external incumbents. So the focus when we hire is only on skills and not really on what is the gender or where does the person come from or which race does the person belong to. This is a very innovative way, at least I've seen in my career in all these years, and it is really helpful to us the way we've kind of achieved some of our hiring objectives through it.
That's superb. Unconscious bias, and as we know, a lot of companies still have them internally. So how do you measure the success of these initiatives, Keshmira?
Sure. So we're looking at the outcomes that we are achieving through this program Eightfold, like I mentioned. We're getting a lot of completely neutral talent pool that comes to us in the selection phase. So our selection phase has now become absolutely neutral and unbiased. That is one way of measuring it. The other, of course, very obvious thing is that Voice as an organization takes pride to be given a lot of accolades like GPTWs. We are there in the top 5 when it comes to DEI, and we are in the top 10 best workplaces when it comes to diversity. So I think those are just stamps to say that, yes, we've been doing phenomenal job when it comes to meeting our diversity agenda.
Incredible. And I've seen some of those awards because I've been looking at your LinkedIn page, and so very impressive. As a woman in leadership, Keshmira, you are in a absolutely unique position to drive change from the top. How has your personal journey influenced the way you approach DEI in the workplace?
Sure. Talking a little about my personal journey, of course, I must acknowledge that I'm quite lucky to come from a background or a culture where we've grown up with absolute inclusive environment, right? So there's nothing like bias, which I've personally myself experienced, and I've seen a very open culture, right? And with those impressions on my mind, it was a little difficult for me to understand the whole purpose behind the D&I agenda in the initial phases of my career. Because as you can understand, I had not experienced it myself. So it was a little vague for me to connect to the wider agenda. But thankfully, when I kind of grew ranks in my career journey, and I started leading teams, or should I say diverse teams, and in diverse parts of the country, in different cities and in different states. That's when, as a manager, I kind of started to recognize, and I started to see the challenges that women and diversity groups were facing right there in front of us, right? So we could pick up and experience that society plays a very big role, a very large role, and there are a lot of pressures that diversity kind of deals with. That realization, when it clicked to me, and my appreciation for that agenda just went very high, and that really helped me to understand the challenges, and also kind of to step up and see that I could remove some of those biases from the environment that I was operating out of.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that. You don't always see it at the beginning. And like you have had a very fortunate career, even though I am in financial services and insurance, which is very male dominated. And actually, when you actually start growing with your career, you start noticing things which could be better for our gender. So in your view, how does promoting a culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion, Keshmira, support the alignment of people's strategy to your organization's goals? And also, I would love for you to share an example as to how this happened within Voice, where it is evident that you are doing amazing work to enable women in technology, but also women in business.
Sure. So Sabine, I think, people agenda and organization goals, they go pretty hand in hand. The larger organization goals are definitely met when our people are happy, and they are given a fair environment to kind of showcase their potential. That's the principle that definitely underlines a lot of stuff that we do. In Voice, if I had to think about a lot of things that we do, again, something that strikes out is our flexi working policies. I think there are some powerful policies we have for our employees, which helps them to kind of step up in the times when they are not able to do full time, for example. So we have things like part-time policies, we have flexi working hours, flexi working days, and these policies are very important because there could be mothers, there could be caretaking responsibilities that men can have, both equally women can have, and they are able to use these policies, and they are able to make an earning for themselves through the use of these policies. And it also in a way helps them in kind of that difficult phase of their life, right, where they have to balance between the responsibilities, commitments, and also make an earning for themselves. So I think those are some wonderful policies that I'd like to mention as an example here. And yes, of course, needless to say, the organization also benefits out of it, because we've seen such incumbents bring the best potential at the table, and kind of really scale when it comes to performance, and give us the right kind of customer experience that we look at delivering as an organization.
Yeah. Over time, I realized talent management and engagement has become one of your core skills, actually, Keshmira. So how do you ensure DI is integrated into, I guess, this area of work to foster inclusive culture within Voice and welcome new talent in the group all the time?
Sure. So, Sabine, like all our organizations, we have our own policies and practices, right? Our endeavor always has been that we look at all our practices through the lens of diversity and inclusiveness, right? So whether we are talking about bringing in new talent, or whether we are talking about retaining the tenure talent, or we're talking about the overall experience that an employee gets at Voice, we're looking at every possible point. We are looking with the lens of DEI to say that how can it be more fair? How can it be more equitable? Right? So all that happens. But how do we do it in a more structured way? If I had to say that, yes, there are a lot of programs and surveys that we do through the year, interventions like the Spirit survey, the GPTW surveys that we do. Plus, there are a lot of listening tools we've kind of, have in the organization. Yeah. What it does is that it doesn't leave an employee in any part of the journey. So whether the employee is new or tenured, on low rank or on high rank, on any designation, any position, there is equal opportunity to everyone to kind of speak up, and we work on the feedback at all point of time. So that kind of ensures that, we are constantly looking, and that's one of the things that I mentioned earlier, the 100% human approach, for example. Those are principles which are very clearly laid out for the organization, so that at no point there should be no confusion around what's my priority as an organization. Right? So we know that, yes, 100% human is important, and we are going to operate out of the same thing for all our employees, regardless of their ranks or designations. So I think that's how we manage engagement at all levels for all talent.
That's superb. That's superb. So if I could ask you, what would be your last word of wisdom, Keshmira, to all those women who are out there, maybe looking for a new opportunity somewhere?
Okay. I think women have a lot of potential. The only thing I would like to say is, please don't be shy. Come up and put your hand, raise your hand, and take the opportunity if you think you are deserving it.
Thank you so much.
That would be my role.
These are superb words. Don't be shy. Take the opportunity. And don't always think that you need to have 100% of the skills.
Absolutely.
That is okay, because then you are there to learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Keshmira, thank you so much for your time. Very grateful.
Nice talking to you, Sabine. Thank you so much.